This episode of Do Go On is brought to you by Do Go On, live at the Giant Dwarf in Sydney on the 24th of August.
And as well as being at the Giant Dwarf in Sydney, we're also excited to announce that we're going to be doing a live show in Melbourne, Australia, the town that we're actually from and in right now, at Howler in Brunswick on the 13th of October. That's a Saturday afternoon. Details for all this will be in the description for this episode.
Come down. Buy tickets.
Calm down.
Calm down. I know you're excited.
This podcast is part of the Planet Broadcasting Network.
Visit planetbroadcasting.com for more podcasts from our great mates.
Hello and welcome to another... Oh, God, the voice is gone already.
Dave, can you do one where you rap it? Hello, everybody. My name is Dave.
Dave, can you not do that?
Okay, I won't do that.
Oh.
Hello and
Everybody, my
welcome
name is
to another
Dave.
episode of Do Go On. My name is Dave Warnick and I'm here with two people that I hold dear. That's a rap.
No, it wasn't.
Jess Perkins and Matt Stewart, hello.
Hello. Thank you so much, Jess, for making it impossible for me to edit out that mistake
Yes.
at the top.
But if Matt did edit it out, she asked me to do a rap version of the intro and Matt said, don't do it, and I kind of half did it.
You didn't half do it. You said
I'm here with people I hold dear. That's the opening line of many Slim Shady LPs.
LP.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. See, I'm
The
down.
real Slim Shady?
Yes, stand him up. And then sit him back down. It's my time to talk, not you.
The real Slim Shady, stand him up. Stand him up.
I said
On a
stand
date.
him up. I said, don't
That'll
go.
show him.
Yeah, that'll put him back in the corner. What's that mean?
Nobody puts Slim in the corner.
That's what they've said in the past.
Yep.
And continue to do so.
Ooh, hello, everyone.
Hello, Bopper. Hello, Davy boy.
Hello, Matty Stew.
Are you
DJ Matty Stew.
DJ.
ready to podcast?
I am ready to... What are you doing over there? We were rapping. What are you doing over there?
I'm just chomping at the bit. Champing at the bit. That's right, isn't it, Dave? I'm champing at the bit.
Some people say chomp, some people say
Yeah,
champ.
I think you're fine either way. Context-wise, we get it.
Well, the real
champing
Slim
at the
Shady champ the bit.
Yeah. The champ is here. And I'm keen to get into my report. Dave, do you want to give us a little explanation of what the show's all about?
It's always on me, and then I get bullied for not doing a good job.
All right,
Well, I
I'm
mean-
on it.
Thank you,
so,
Jess.
Thank you.
Do Go On was created in 2015 when Matt Stewart, Dave Warnick, and Jess Perkins created a podcast. And what they do.
I mean, I don't go into this much detail,
On that-
admittedly.
Excuse me. And on that podcast, what they do is one of them chooses a topic, does a report on that topic. The other two, well, they don't bloody know what the topic is, do they?
Well, that actually, it does sound a lot easier to explain. I mean, you said it in a weird Broden voice, but apart from that, the words were very simple, Dave.
I'm sorry. Well, I didn't claim that I did a good job. I just got given the job. And then, as I said, I often get bullied for not doing a good job.
It's Jess's to lose now.
Great. Jess is in your job. Love it.
Love
And the way we get on the topic is by the report giver asking a question. So this week it's my turn to do a report, and Jess and Dave do not know what the report is on.
Just said that.
The question today is
Matt
just,
trying to steal your job, Jess?
just a quick recap.
Mansplaining.
Question.
Jess, a podcast is audio-based.
What?
Question this week is, which American sitcom was going to be called Insomnia Cafe during its development?
Frasier.
No.
Friends.
Yes.
Yay!
Really?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they're always at the cafe.
Insomnia Cafe.
Insomnia Cafe.
I don't like that at all. That's a terrible name for a sitcom.
I tell you, that's a terrible name, but if we were sitting here and it was called Insomnia Cafe, which sitcom was going to be called Friends? You'd be like, that's the lamest name I've ever heard.
I've
Friends
been-
is lame.
Thinking about that a lot, like it's one of those things where everything would sound a bit dumb at first. Coca-Cola?
Whoa.
Do Go On. Ugh.
Nah, that always sounded great.
Yeah, that's great. 3 syllables.
This topic was suggested by Will Barron. And I went back to it. He suggested this was quite a while back in the hat.
Is this the original hat?
Yeah, in the old original hat. And
The OG.
and then in brackets he said the TV show, not the concept of Friends.
I remember reading that.
Not the
really
concept
early
of friendship or
on. It
something.
really made me laugh.
But then I've gone back to his Twitter account and there are 0 tweets. He's wiped it down.
He's
Wow.
wiped it down.
Wiped it clean.
Got a Pino Clean
Yeah.
antiseptic wipe.
Like it's some sort of burner account.
Yeah, that's right. That's what it feels like. It feels like a crime's been committed.
Like he's just been wiped from the internet.
Yeah.
Did you Google him and it said this man never existed?
There hasn't been a Will Barron around these parts for 70 years.
His Twitter account's a goddamn ghost town. What am I doing here? I'm just chewing some hay.
The sheriff again?
No, this is an entirely
Yeah.
different character.
This is a nuanced character with a thick backstory.
Yeah.
Thick.
Thick and thick butt.
And thick butt.
And when I say thick backstory, I'm talking about his butt.
Oh, that's a thick backside.
Well, let's talk about Friends.
The concept?
Hey,
The TV show.
Ah.
are you guys? Are you a big fan, Matt? I didn't know if you were.
No, not really.
Great.
Great.
Love that enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Several people tweeted in saying, love the Pantera episode. Could feel how passionate Matt was for the topic.
Oh, look, I mean,
Will we get that this week?
I love TV comedy, and
Friendship.
I think Friends is a good show. I just don't love it. I think it was, it's like a comfort TV sort of thing.
Yeah.
Jess, you were a watcher?
Yeah, I reckon I've seen all of Friends.
I realized writing this report that I haven't even seen the last episode. I'm like, oh, that's how it ended.
Dave, are you a fan?
I don't know how it ends, and I rarely watched it.
But bits and pieces.
Yeah, so I know the concept, know all the characters,
Yeah,
and their sort
yeah.
of their vague quirks.
Yeah.
But
It's
yeah,
one of those
I'm
shows.
interested to hear how it came about. And
I did. So the episode 3 of my great new podcast, Primates, is about an episode of Friends from season 1 where Ross gets a monkey.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been thinking about Friends a bit lately.
The concept.
The concept. And that's why I count you two amongst my friends.
Get out.
Yeah, I do. I
We're
really
not
do.
just like co-workers.
we're
No.
amongst.
You're amongst them.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, when my friends are around, you're amongst my friends.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no. What has he done?
Brutal.
And during that episode, I was with Alistair Trombo Birchall was on with me, and we were talking about maybe how, like, I can't remember if he agreed or not, but Friends is maybe like something like the Beatles and Seinfeld is like Rolling Stones or vice versa. They were like the two big ones.
Yeah, I do
They
hear
overlapped.
people say, I'm not a Friends person. I'm more of a Seinfeld guy.
Yeah,
you want
you're
a
one
lot
or
of
the
people
other.
are one or the other, and I'd say I'm a Seinfeld person.
I do love Seinfeld, but I don't only love Seinfeld because I don't like Friends.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
I think you can totally like both.
I'd say I'm Friends because I never really watched much of Seinfeld.
right. Interesting.
Well, Jess, you have just been excommunicated from this podcast.
Really?
Because it's serious to me.
No, that
You're going to do that.
it's
You're going to ruin the pod over Seinfeld.
Yeah, it's
What's
a great
Seinfeld
show.
ever done for you, though?
made me laugh.
Okay. Have I not done that?
Oh,
How dare
yeah, you have. but
Thank you.
Probably not as much as George Costanza's father. Man, he's one of the funniest characters I've ever seen.
Gary Stiller,
He's so funny.
Oh, God.
Serenity.
Serenity now.
Serenity now. The good times we've had.
Well, we're not talking about that. We're talking about Friends, the concept on the show.
But I'm really glad to hear that you're a fan, Jess.
Yeah.
I'd say I'm probably halfway between you and Dave.
Perfect.
We got the whole bloody spectrum here. Friends creative duo. Well, that's a good start. The first sentence doesn't make sense. The Friends creative duo was made up of Marta Kaufman and David Crane. So I guess you see those names at the on
Yeah, I
the
remember the
end
names. Before I even said them, they just came to my mind. Maybe I've seen more than I thought.
screen, who had previously had some success with a sitcom on HBO called Dream On, which I don't recall at all, starring Brian Benben, who plays
Is
Martin.
that a dog?
No,
Is this some
that's
sort of super dog?
someone's come up with that as a name for
Brian
a character. Brian
Benben.
Benben, who plays Martin Tupper,
Tupper.
a book editor who had watched a lot of TV as a child in the 1950s, and he expresses his thoughts through snippets of old TV dramas in black and white. This ran for 6 seasons from 1990 to 1996.
Wow.
That sounds like a pretty crazy concept.
Yeah. They also created an NBC sitcom called The Powers That Be, and I've clipped out a little summary from the Wikipedia page.
It's about witches,
Oh, good guess, but no
wizards.
Are they work at a power plant?
No, neither of those.
Oh, they are bees.
No,
Ah,
they get this. It's a double whammy. Here we go.
their last name is Power.
Yes.
Yes!
Oh, wow.
And they are bees.
And at the center of the series is U.S. Senator William Powers. So they work in politics. So they're
Okay.
a parody of the political establishment in Washington, D.C. Margaret, the senator's status-hungry wife, treats Charlotte, their maid, with comedic disdain.
Comedic.
Caitlin, the senator's daughter, has an eating disorder and is married to Representative Theodore Van Horn, who is suicidal. Their son, Pierce, is mature beyond his years from having to care for his unbalanced parents. Sophie Lipkin, the senator's illegitimate daughter, is a loud, crass New Jerseyan who surprises the family when she moves to Washington and begins to bond with her father. The senator's staff includes an intelligent and beautiful aide, Jordan Miller, who is also Powell's mistress, and the feckless aide, Bradley Grist.
So is this a comedy?
It's a comedy. There is so much going
There's
on.
so many
Too much
different-
going on.
What was the elevator pitch for that? All right. The senators, and it's pretty fucked.
So there's a suicidal character. Someone's got
Eating disorder?
There's an
disorder.
illegitimate daughter. There's a mistress.
There's so much going on. Anyway,
There's
it
a
lasted
class stuff
from
going on.
92 to 93. That one didn't last so long.
I wonder why.
Look, I don't know that for sure, but it did, like that paragraph
Sounds-
makes it sound like my head's about to explode. How do they fit
Yeah.
even all of those people in the same episode?
Then again, I think when you
Yeah, the credits ran for 18 minutes.
if you try to explain like friends
Yeah.
in a paragraph,
Yeah,
but
even the
also
6.
trying to fit everything in, it sounds
Yeah, that's
insane.
true.
So spread out. I'm sure
Of course.
it's not episode 1.
That's
Here's
it.
illegitimate daughter. He's suicidal.
No.
This kid's cool.
We get to that and then it's first ad break.
Yeah. And then it just peters out from there.
They also created a sitcom called Family Album, which is another one that's not a great
Their
sounding.
surname is Album.
The surname is Family.
They are all records.
No, they are, yes. They're a family of records. So that was in 1993, which centered around the Lerner family, who moved from California to Philadelphia to be closer to their family. But according to their poster, they didn't realize how close.
I mean, they've stapled themselves to their parents' backs.
I kind of it made me kind of think it was maybe like an Everybody Loves
Yeah.
Raymond kind of idea.
Oh.
The series was cancelled after 6 episodes.
Oh, dear.
So when Kaufman and Crane started pitching the idea of Friends, they had some sort of runs on the board. They had, varying degrees of success, but they had some successes. I think they're also both involved in Veronica's Closet or something. I read that very late, but after I'd finished the report. According to Crane, it was just another pilot to them, and after Family Album was cancelled, he remembers that they were scrambling in a panic, wondering if they would ever let us back on the air again. They were nervous that they'd maybe mucked up their last chance.
Right.
The other sitcoms they had put together were all based around blood-related families to different degrees, with a central lead character. So they were keen to try an ensemble comedy. And according to Kaufman, the idea of Friends was close to their hearts because they had lived it.
They had friends.
They had friends.
What? But they never had a family, so that's why the family stuff didn't work.
Yeah.
They just couldn't relate.
Wow. Imagine having friends, firstly, just as a concept.
They really bring a niche perspective.
But then being able to then use that life experience to influence your art.
Right, what you know.
Wow. Wow. That's why everything I write is about loneliness. That's what I know.
But it works.
It
works.
works.
It works every time.
Yeah, people love it.
There's a senator. He's lonely. And his suicidal daughter's maid is also...
His mistress. And
And-
also his daughter.
And a rabbit that talks. Huh?
Okay.
And imaginary.
Huh? How many million can I get for the pilot?
Of course I got a talking rabbit.
They pitched the idea to the NBC president at the time, obviously. Weird. I wrote at the time, but obviously that
Is implied.
implied
The future
there.
NBC presidents. They went to the mailroom. They saw someone, said, in 10 years, you're going to be big, son.
So I'm pitching to you.
Let's make it happen.
I lost a lot of mail. You're going to be big, kid.
Oh, I've set the mail on fire again.
Oh, no. Oh, no. What friends? I don't know what they are. We're painting a really lonely character. Jess, this could be you.
You should write a sitcom about mail. And that's how King of Queens came about.
Because the main
he's a
character's
delivery guy, yeah.
Oh, a delivery guy, yeah.
I didn't realize that. I just thought you pulled some random sitcom and you're like, and that's how that happened. That's where Will and Grace started. So,
so the president's name was Warren Littlefoot, and they pitched to him in his office, and he loved the pitch. According to Littlefield,
I'm just the pitching the idea of Friends. We've based it on ourselves. I love it.
well, what he was talking about is like their idea of Friends and the characters were so well developed, because it sounds like they were in the market for this kind of idea. They wanted something like this, a youngish ensemble cast comedy show, and they'd had a few people pitching similar ideas, and then these guys came in and they were like, oh, according to him anyway. I've read a lot of Warren Littlefoot in interviews and stuff, and he does sound like, he's painting probably a rose, everything.
Totally.
Of course. I knew it was going to be huge.
Yeah, that sort of stuff.
If the show had done terribly and in interviews, he would have been like, I mean, we took a chance.
Yeah. And
I was the one fighting against this.
Yeah.
I wanted a hit.
there are so many flops as well.
Yeah.
I think I read that pilots like a less than a 1 in 3 chance. I was surprised that we're even that high, but yeah. So that was interesting. I'm trying to find, there was this one quote that I really loved from him. He was talking about afterwards, and he was putting together a book with interviews of different people he's worked with in TV, and just sort of everything's kind of bigging himself up a little bit. But this one felt really funny to me. Maybe it's not, but this is what he said. I did all the interviews myself. I met LeBlanc Matt LeBlanc, who's in one of the members of Friends, plays Joey Tribbiani.
Correct.
Okay. So I met LeBlanc at the Mulholland Grill, and he insisted he pay for lunch. He looked at me and said, "Do you have any idea how much you changed my life? There is no way you're picking up this check." And I finally let him pay for it. It's just like a lot of those.
I finally let him pay. I was going to pay.
He's
But
just
then I said,
got the best of everything.
Yeah.
I'm not just saying, yeah, you definitely pay. I want to pay, but he's telling me that I'm the best. And
eventually I agreed and high-fived him.
it's just, a bunch of that sort of stuff. But
So
anyway.
I ordered one of each dessert.
Suck that, LeBlanc.
That would have been fun if he never
Yeah, that
he
would be
never
more
sounded
fun.
like he ever had any of that kind of level of fun to him. Anyway, sorry about that. Warren, if you're listening, you sound like a great guy. So their one-line pitch was, "It's that special time in your life when your friends are your family." Which I like that. I never really thought about that, but that makes after you move out of home before you start your own family, that period, what we would maybe call the now time in your life, Jess.
Fuck. I'm
The
supposed
golden years.
Oh, is it? Does it?
It doesn't get better, Jess.
What? I know you're joking. I was genuinely banking on it getting better.
Your friends are your family now.
Oh, fuck. I got to get some friends.
Yeah. You got to get some family.
I got to spend time with my friends.
According to an article on AV Hub, Friends changed the sitcom landscape by breaking from many typical formats. The show did not revolve around a family, home, or workplace, but a makeshift clan. The 6 20-something stars were so young that the network execs initially suggested an older mentor type to give the show's opinions more weight. It's safe to say that before Friends, the youth sitcom was far from as prevalent as it is today. But then they make the point in the same article that Living Single, a comedy sitcom about 6 African-American friends living in Brooklyn, preceded Friends by a year. A sitcom based in New York City about
friends.
6
Six
friends in their 20s.
Right. But Friends really broke the mold.
Yeah, I know. That same article going on about how it broke up. And then they go, obviously there was this other show. So I hadn't heard of this. I can't remember it being played in Australia. Obviously, they have way more channels and shows than we can fit over here, even though
Especially
we do
back then. in the
play a
90s.
lot of American TV here. So I've looked it up, and that description, like that does sound like a rip-off of Friends. And it was one of the stars, Queen Latifah.
No.
Yeah. And and she was on a chat show hosted by Andy Cohen, and it was one of those chat shows where there's multiple guests. She was also on there with Jason Sudeikis. Sudoku.
No.
So she was on this show, and the host Andy Cohen asked her if there would ever be a Living Single reboot. And then Jason Sudeikis chipped in. He goes, "I thought Friends was the reboot."
Oh, very good.
Nice.
So that's obviously it's relatively well known over there that's what happened. Queen Latifah agreed that Friends was a ripoff, basically saying, "We knew we had already been doing that. It was a guy named Warren Littlefield, who we've just been talking about, that used to run NBC."
Field or Ford?
Field.
Okay.
It's written Field.
Yeah.
You can pronounce it Ford if you like.
No, that's how you've said it twice now.
Good.
Littleford.
That's how I think of him.
Okay, fair.
It's my little joke that me and Wazza have.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Get between
It must be
a
nice.
couple of friends.
Yeah, it must be nice to have friends where you have
Yeah, they have these little
in-jokes and
in-jokes, but don't worry about it.
we
It's
call
fine.
him Wazza.
Really is the golden years of your life.
Yeah.
Fuck.
We'll look back on these days fondly. And they asked him, I'm coming back into the middle of this Queen Latifah quote. So it was a guy named Warren Littleford that used to run NBC, and they asked him when all the new shows came out, if there was any show he could have, which would it be? He said Living Single, and then he created Friends. Apparently that was on record according to Queen Latifah that he loved
wanted it.
He loved it, he wanted it. So he just sort of made a version of it.
I wonder how long it ran for.
Yeah, do you know?
Quite a few years, and they're talking about it being rebooted genuinely.
So they would have overlapped and
Yeah.
been running at the same time.
Yeah, they were running at the same time.
And is it
How
the reason that
strange.
Queen Latifah, is that maybe her big break, that show?
Yes. Let's say no.
Okay.
Bit of both.
I'm just wondering, in America, is she known for that show, but we just never got it?
She is known for that, but she's known for a lot of stuff.
Of
I think
course.
she's a multi-threat.
She's Queen Latifah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She then clarified that she thought Friends was so good, so it's not like we hated on it or anything. It was just like,
Yeah.
they ripped. I mean, she doesn't say it. They stole our idea.
Yeah. I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either, but that's pretty fascinating because people do talk about it like Friends changed everything. The other show that is talked about as being like a proto-Friends that was also overlapped with it was Seinfeld. Jerry Seinfeld, comedian and co-founder, co-creator and star of Seinfeld, has accused Friends of ripping him off too. In one interview in 2003, Seinfeld was asked if he thought his show would have been given time to succeed if it was to premiere today instead of in 1990, because it actually had a few years where it built before it got huge, Seinfeld. And Seinfeld responded by asking, "Has Friends been on too in this, this scenario?" And the interviewer Bob Costas replies, "Yeah, Friends has been on." And Seinfeld says, "Really? So they managed to steal it without seeing it," which is a pretty good line. I
Wow.
thought.
How can a man that successful be bitter? How?
Also, how many friends are there in Seinfeld?
Yeah, it's a different number.
It's a different number, Jerry.
Living Single's 6 to 6.
Yeah, that's quite clear.
Seinfeld's got 3 guys. Sure, maybe they stole the 3 guy element.
And let's remember, you can't like Seinfeld and Friends, apparently.
You can't.
How can they be the same thing?
Yeah.
They're two different things,
I
Jerry!
think he's called later on. He called Friends Seinfeld with good-looking people.
Oh,
Bit of a backhander to bloody
That's
Jason Alexander, huh?
Yeah, Jason Alexander's like, well, fuck you, Jerry.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus,
Yeah,
babe.
babe, no doubt about
Look at
that.
her now. She's like a fine wine. She's
And
gotten better with age.
How has she gotten better?
I
It's
know,
amazing.
It's amazing.
She was and she's the one who broke the Seinfeld curse, which said that none of them would ever. Like all that, they all release sitcoms afterwards that failed pretty quickly, and she's had a few successes since then. I like when someone asked Larry David about the Seinfeld curse, and he was like, "It's ridiculous. It's just very hard to have a successful sitcom."
Right, of course. Right, okay.
Whether or not
Anyone
you've
else
been
has
on
the same
yeah,
chance, right?
Yeah, it's not a curse.
That's fair.
Anyway, back to Friends.
Many of
I was
whom-
was I starting to sound like I was passionate about the topic?
But back to Friends. Have any of them broken the Friends curse?
I I mean, they've all had different levels of success after, but we should get to the success before we talk about post-success. While they were developing the Friends pilot, Crane and Kaufman also had another pilot on the go during the same pilot season. The other one was tentatively titled
Enemies.
Reality Check.
Similar.
Which is enemies are always a reality check.
What kind of check?
Oh, yeah. It was CHEQUE.
Or
No, wait.
CZECH.
Oh.
Reality Czech Republic.
That's it. It was about a high school student from the Czech Republic named Jamie
Oh, I love it.
who frequently lapses into elaborate fantasies. Apparently, Fox made them do a gazillion rewrites. Gazillion's a quote there. And they kept wanting the show to be more risque. Fox were like, more risque. Whereas they were finding with Friends, it was quite a smooth ride. If anything, they were saying a little bit safer. But Fox were like, can we make this more risque? It's this show about a high school kid with fantasies.
Whoa, okay. What do they want?
Well, apparently, Crane later said that they kept wanting Jamie to be older, the main character, Jamie, to be older. They wanted him to be driving and already having sex. Sounds like a different show.
Okay.
Older. They wanted him to be 35.
Can we still set it into school? Of course. We're aiming at this are kids.
He's 35 and he can drive. Oh.
Double threat.
And he's a millionaire.
Oh.
And he
He's
robs
had
banks.
sex
This is
before.
dangerous.
Yeah, he's cool.
I tried to find a Sydney Scheinberg link to all of these, but I couldn't.
He
It
didn't have
feels
any-
like his fingerprints are on it
Yeah,
somewhere.
it does sound like, make him older. Make him crazier. I like danger.
Give him a chimp.
Give the chimp a gun. Where's my corn chips? I asked for corn chips.
Why is he always asking for just plain, unsalted corn chips?
I've already got salsa, you fool.
Oh, I was going to say nothing to dip him in, but he's got salsa. That's good.
In Crane's words, reality check was terrible.
That's Crane's words.
And that's it's his show, but it was changed so much by the network that he's like, it was no good. But he said, on the other hand, the process developing Friends just seemed to flow every step of the way and was easy to write. Crane and Kaufman were worried that the dud show would be picked up and said,
Don't pick this one. It's
Yeah.
but of course, history shows that their fears were well founded as Friends was picked up. Nah, good on him. Little.
and reality check.
That took me a sec to get it.
The show was to be based around the lives of 6 people,
Oh.
which we've already discussed, who were friendly with each other. Okay, and I'll talk about more about these friends soon.
Friendly, but not too friendly.
Yeah.
They were acquaintances.
Yeah.
But first, they needed a place for these titular friends to hang out. They knew they couldn't use a bar or pub because of Cheers. Cheers has been a massively successful sitcom that ran from 82 to 93.
And of course, they copyrighted the concept of a bar.
Of a bar.
No one could ever enter a bar on TV.
They generally said that Cheers ruled out a bar as an idea. It just was too synonymous with Cheers at that stage, and it just wrapped up Cheers. So it would have seemed like, they just wanted to avoid that. They also wanted to avoid doing it in a sort of a diner like Tom's Diner in Seinfeld.
Monk's Diner.
Monk's Diner. The real diner's called Tom's Diner.
Right.
I think, or have I got that wrong? Anyway, so their options were already narrowed down a bit, which maybe worked as a bit of an advantage. So then one day during development, Kaufman and Crane walked past a cafe and they thought, and this is a direct quote from Kaufman, "Oh, that would be a cool place to put these people."
A cafe.
Yeah.
Previously, when they were listing a bar, a diner, they didn't make the link
They had
to a
to-
cafe.
Not until I saw one in the flesh.
Wow. And I don't have friends, but I would think of a cafe. But hey, that's me, Melbourne,
Yeah,
I
I think cafe before diner.
Cafe culture here.
But
I'm a
they-
coffee snob.
They did. I did read amongst it that at that stage, cafes weren't a place you went and hung out at. It was like the Littlefield called it a bit of a head scratcher. The idea of have them.
Who's Littlefield? Is he the same as Littleford?
Yes. Have we not?
You did flip back to Littlefield earlier.
Damn it. What if I've written it down that way?
Littlefield, he was like, love the concept. They were like, it's at a cafe.
What?
What is that? Scratch my head.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, he that's a quote from him. He called it a bit of a head scratcher. I don't know.
Great.
Tell me more. I don't know.
Good act out.
Thank you.
He's literally scratched his head. Oh, yeah, I can hear it.
Well, I had a bit of an itch there. Oh, now they're popping up everywhere.
Oh, no. he's
you
going
thought
crazy.
of it. No, don't. You'll make me itchy.
But he also said that they were completely ahead of the curve in what a coffee shop meant in a young adult person's life. They knew that they were this generation's new living room. Crane and Kaufman downplay that, though. They just were like, no, we just thought it was a cool place to put them, and we walked past one.
Yeah.
We needed a spot. We weren't.
No, it was a social commentary.
Yeah.
And also,
They're like, we weren't capturing, we didn't mean to capture the zeitgeist or whatever.
Nah, take it. Take the credit.
and they don't want it to be like Seinfeld, which is a diner, which is a cafe diner.
Yeah, it's so
exactly
similar.
the same thing. And they talk openly on the show about we're four people that never eat a meal at home.
Yeah.
So it is basically their living room.
Yeah.
But they're like, this is cutting edge.
Yeah, I know. It's interesting. But that, I mean, this is all through Wazza, Littlefold. So the title, I was saying before that it was potentially going to be called Insomnia Cafe.
Hate it.
You know that cafe they walked past? What its name was?
Cafe.
Insomnia Cafe.
Friends.
Right.
Oh.
So they were...
It was called Friends. Sorry. Insomnia Cafe, which is, to be honest, a pretty rubbish name for a cafe.
Are they open 24/7?
I guess it was... Is that just about caffeine keeping you up?
Well, it's stupid
Yeah.
regardless.
It's like talking about one of the side effects of your biggest selling product.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Not a good thing.
It's sort of like calling a bar regret bar, hangover bar, lots of money gone, you sad pub. Like,
Casino. Public casino.
We rich, you not so rich. Casino.
you think you're rich, but we will soon change that casino.
It wasn't the only suggested name they had. Others
What else they got?
included. At one point, it was called 6 of 1.
Nope.
6 of 1?
Yeah.
Half
6
a
of
dozen
1.
of the other. I don't like it. Was that another option? Half a dozen of the other?
Yeah.
Right, I don't know that's saying
Yeah,
a
is that
lot
6
about-
of 1 half a dozen. That basically says same
Same.
difference. Yeah. Across the Hall, I think was one of Littleford's.
Don't hate
Littlefield.
that, but no.
And Friends Like Us, which I guess was shortened to Friends.
Yes.
Yeah, 6 of 1. Yeah, I'm happy with Friends, but at the time, someone who was involved in the thing were like, that sounds like a yawn or something. What a yawn, Friends. Yeah, it is like if you
Yawn.
Can you if you name a few other shows that are famous with a similar kind of name, just a real basic description.
MASH.
So that'd be called Army Doctor, Army Doctors. I guess, right? Or even less than that. It'd probably be called Friends.
Cheers. And you could call it
Booze hounds.
alcoholics. Yeah. Sad people.
Wings.
Wings.
Plain Men.
Jag. Navy lawyer.
That's good. Welcome to Navy Lawyer.
NCIS. You could call it NCIS.
Knickers.
I don't know why I enjoyed that.
It's ridiculous.
So I think it was someone at the network who wanted to shorten Friends Like Us to
Knickers.
Friends.
I bet Littleford took credit for it.
I
I was at a cafe trying to buy everyone a meal because I'm a great guy.
They all insisted. I walked out with 18 muffins.
Well, what am I going to do with 18 muffins?
I threw them out.
Threw them out into a homeless man's open arms because I'm a great guy. And then I thought, Friends Like Us, you know what? I'm just a friendly kind of guy. Friends.
And then one day that homeless guy became a billionaire and he bought me a helicopter.
I couldn't say no. It would have been rude, which I'm not. Sounds like a great guy.
If one of you ever offered me a helicopter, I'm going to play this back and be like, well, I can't say no. It'd be rude. Just putting that out there now.
So when look, it's on the record. I will edit that out just in case.
Fingers crossed.
So someone suggested Friends from the network, and apparently they told them that that's what they wanted to call it at the
Friends
same time.
from the network.
Just Friends, sorry. Someone from the network said we want to call it Friends, and they also said it on the same day, and we want to offer you the Thursday night slot between Seinfeld and Mad About You,
Right, okay, so they are worried.
which is a dream spot.
Or about the Seinfeld influence. Yeah.
And apparently, executive producer Kevin Bright replied, "If you put us on Thursday nights, you can call us Kevorkian for all I care."
Oh, very good.
See, that's the kind of line that gets remembered 20 years later in an interview. They go, that would have been tossing that around for a bit.
Oh, very quaint.
Kevorkian.
I had a lot of sugar before. Can you tell?
I
Yes.
could tell.
And Dave had a beer.
Yeah.
That's why it's party time in here. You're both crashing, guys. Could you pick it up a bit,
Sorry,
please?
mate.
Give me
Pep
a
up,
beer.
please. All right.
You're doing a lot of the heavy lifting here, Matthew.
Okay, now let's talk about these titular Friends characters.
Okay. We're 30 minutes in,
Quote unquote Friends.
and we're just getting to the characters.
I love it. Detailed.
And also how they were cast.
Auditions.
Yes.
No.
All right, well, I can skip right beyond that part.
Catwalk, mall search.
Wow.
They were like, that guy looks like a Ross.
He's such a Ross, they said.
Which are you, Dave?
I don't know. Is that up to me?
Or-
Wow, great question.
I don't know.
Very self-aware, Dave. Very good.
And who's that? Is that Chandler? I don't know.
I think
You're
Jess
not
is
Chandler,
Jess
get
is
fucked.
Chandler. You're probably.
I don't. So can you explain what you mean when you say Chandler?
I
for
think
myself,
Dave
and other
is
people who aren't
Ross,
Yeah, Dave's Ross.
Is that so? He's a bit of a mess.
and I'm Phoebe. I reckon. What do you reckon about that? I have no idea.
Okay, you don't know.
So what's
No.
the Ross
Tweet
trait?
in.
I would say I'm a combination of Chandler and Rachel. Rachel gets funnier. Like, she starts off a bit, they sort of make her a bit
What
of
are
a
you
ditz.
saying? I'm confused. What are you saying there?
She's
you're
getting
saying
funnier.
You're getting funnier. That means,
No.
or that she gets
I'm
funnier,
saying-
which makes her more like you.
Thank you, yes. I'm saying at Rachel's peak funny,
That's when she's sort of getting towards.
she's getting
you.
close, but
Yep.
nowhere near,
Okay.
obviously.
That makes sense to me.
Hmm.
She's also a fashionista. She works in fashion.
Like me.
Yeah. Whereas Dave's just a boring sad sack called Ross. All right. So Ross
Is he a
Geller.
paleontologist?
Paleontologist.
dinosaurs.
That's cool.
Shut
That's
up,
a cool
Ross.
job.
Yeah, you would think that, Ross.
So yeah,
Yeah,
he's
I'm Ross. Why would I choose his career if I didn't think it was good?
That is something that came up a lot in Friends, apparently, and has copped a bit of criticism in more recent times, was that they were very kind of anti-intellectual. Any super smart character was normally viewed pretty unfavorably on it, especially Ross and his friends. It's like, shut up, egghead, was kind of like
Yeah.
a lot of jokes were different versions of that.
I would argue it hasn't really aged all that well.
No, I don't think it has.
Seinfeld's still great, guys.
So here are the characters. Ross Geller, the part of Ross, the paleontologist we're talking about, the Dave character. They had David Schwimmer in mind as Kaufman and Crane were fans of his, but Schwimmer at the time was keen to get back into theatre work. Apparently his agent convinced him to read for the part though, and although others also read for the part, Schwimmer was the first actor cast for the show.
Oh, nice.
Schwimmer locked in.
Say Schwimmer again.
Schwimmer.
Thank you.
Monica Geller.
His sister.
Yes, that's true. The casting of it wasn't a coincidence. Imagine they'd written a cast of 6 and 2 of them had the same surname by coincidence.
They could make up literally any names.
They're like, no,
They're like, are these two related? Oh, yes.
Yes. Oh, we better make a couple of quick edits.
Why are they kissing in the first scene? Oh, it's the new culture.
Kids these
Yes,
days.
this is Gen X. This is what Gen Xers do. So the casting of Monica, who was a chef with a competitive personality, was much tighter. Apparently, it was a real line ball call between Nancy McEwen and Courtney Cox. Apparently, they wanted Cox for another character, Rachel, at one point.
No.
But Cox found the Monica character to be more interesting. In the end, the decision was left up to Kaufman, Crane, and also the EP, Bright, and they went with Cox, who was probably the most famous of the cast when the show started. None of them were huge names at all, but she had some sort of profile. She had a recognizable face as she was in Bruce Springsteen's Dancing in the Dark film clip, where he pulled her up on stage and they danced together.
Oh, in the dark?
Yeah, in a dimly lit arena.
Rename the song, Bruce.
Dancing in the dimly lit arena.
I love it. That's
she,
my autobiography.
She also had a stint as Michael J. Fox's girlfriend on Family Ties.
Oh, that's right.
She was in an episode of Seinfeld where I think she pretended to be Jerry's wife to get, what was it, a discount on something or something? classic Seinfeld sort of storyline. And she was also in Jim Carrey's Ace Ventura: Pet Detective.
Oh,
As I think
When you
it meant-
started with she appeared in a music clip, I thought it was going to end there. I was like, the
Yeah.
others really had zero profile if that was the best bit.
Yeah.
But she had done a bit.
She had done a bit, yeah. And I mean, everyone had done a bit, but hers were probably the highest profile things. And that Dancing in the Dark film clip is genuinely a very well known classic.
Dancing
film
in
clip.
a dimly lit.
People, it's got its own dance, that one where you sort of do the swing and arm click.
God, you're cool.
Joey Tribbiani, Joey, a sleazy dim-witted aspiring actor who was played by Matt LeBlanc, and according to Littlefield, when Matt LeBlanc came into audition, he was just Joey. He owned it. It was undeniable in the room. He was delightful. There was no nail biting on that one. Okay, that was an easy casting. Then we had Chandler Bing, the half Jess. Chandler was the goofy wisecracking business executive, and when it came to casting him, the team thought it couldn't be any easier.
I enjoyed that too much.
No, just enough. But it turned out to be more complicated than they first thought. They saw Jon Favreau and John Cryer for the part, and they were also interested in a guy called Craig Bierko. Matthew Perry actually. Bierko.
So Jess seemed really interested by the other people, so I thought I'd try and
throw Bierko a bone.
yeah, try and give him something. No one cares about Bierko.
Don't try to be as
apparently-
cool as me.
Perry had already, and Matthew Perry, who ended up getting the part.
Spoiler alert.
Matthew Perry apparently coached Craig Bierko, and that's probably not
Sabotaged him.
Coached him what, in like Little League Soccer? What are we
No,
talking
they
about?
coached him. He said, "This is how I'd play it," and because of that, they really liked Bjerke, but they found that out later. So he was helping him.
That's really strange. I'm
Yeah, I
going for
don't
this part. I'm
I
going to
don't
teach
fully
you
get
how
it
I'm
either.
doing it.
But I think in part it was for this reason. I'm guessing they were friends on one hand, but in the end they wanted Perry. But unfortunately for them, he was signed on to a competing pilot, right? So I guess maybe that's why he did, because he thought he was attached to this other thing. That pilot was called. You know about this? I hadn't heard about this.
Enemies.
LAX 2194.
I don't like that.
Which was about baggage handlers who sorted aliens' luggage at Los Angeles International Airport in the year 2194.
Oh, get fucked.
That is greenlit from me.
That's a yes from me.
Give that 10 seasons.
That is a hard no.
Did that ever make it?
I've seen a clip from it. No, I didn't get past the pilot, luckily for Chandler. You could argue, maybe not. But
But he was one of the main lead characters.
he would have been, he would have been right. He would have been in that, and he was locked in for that. Then there was Phoebe Buffay. Kathy Griffin and Jane Lynch both went for the part of Phoebe,
Ooh.
the ditzy hippie masseuse. And they actually met each other at the audition and became real-life friends.
Oh, that's cute.
The three of them?
At the audition. No, just
Right.
Kathy and Jane.
Oh, right.
But the team were keen for Lisa Kudrow to play the part, but she was already occasionally playing the character of Ursula, a waitress on Mad About You. And according to Littlefield, star and EP of Mad About You, Paul Reiser, was exceptional about letting her move to Friends. He loved that she was. He loved what she was doing on Mad About You, but it wasn't a series regular character. And then they brilliantly came up with the notion that Phoebe and Ursula were sisters, and she could pop up again on Mad About You. Brilliant!
Perfect.
Isn't that brilliant?
That is. Brilliant.
He'll throw out praise. They figured out that they could just be sisters. That is brilliant. Brilliant. This opens up a fun little shared universe thing between Friends.
So
and
I didn't know
Mad
about this, yeah.
Also, more surprisingly, potentially, it's a shared universe between Friends, Mad About You, and Seinfeld, which might be surprising, seeing as Seinfeld has called Friends a rip-off of Seinfeld, how he would let that happen. But it sort of happened in a bit of a backdoor way via Mad About You. This is what happened. So Mad About You ran from 92 to 99, Friends from 94 to 2004, and Seinfeld from 89 to 98. So they're all on air at the same time in 94 to 98. Ursula, who works as a waitress on Mad About You, becomes the sister of Phoebe from Friends.
Mm-hmm.
So that links those two shows. Also, one time, Helen Hunt, who starred as Jamie alongside Paul Reiser on Mad About You, was once on Friends in character as Jamie, and at the coffee shop, she confused Phoebe for Ursula.
Oh.
She's, like, oh, what are you doing
A
at this
crossover
different-"
rep.
Yeah. Just a little Little nod there.
Love it.
Then on an episode of Mad About You, Kramer, the character played by
Oh
Michael
my-
Richards
I
on
can't
Seinfeld.
handle these crossovers.
I can't remember exactly what happened, but he either took over Paul Reiser's old apartment or he was Paul Reiser's tenant or something. And Paul in that scene even references the comedian from across the hall named Jerry.
Right.
Oh.
So this links Friends to Mad About You and Mad About You to Seinfeld, meaning that they all share a universe. One thing that mucks this up, though, a bit, is that in an episode of Seinfeld, George, who's played by Jason Alexander, and Susan, played by Heidi Swedberg, watch an episode of Mad About You in bed.
Right.
So how can they be in the same universe if one of them's
Yes.
still a TV show in that universe?
And also Courtney Cox was Jerry's girlfriend.
But I mean, that's an actor thing. I think you can explain that away.
Sure.
But
I
having...
tend not to overthink things like this.
But them actually watching a TV show. I mean, you said you didn't overthink it, but you were the one who brought that up. So
You asked a really complicated question.
that's interesting.
Wow.
Okay.
Matt, I'm sorry about him.
No, that's fine.
I didn't think you'd turn on me like that for that. And I
Dave,
apologize.
you never know when we're going to turn.
I know.
Sass twins.
I know. Sometimes you just freak out.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, I really don't care for shared universes. Couldn't give a fuck.
I did my when I was on the Weekly Planet on the Planet Broadcasting Network. I went on to talk about shared universes, and I talked about this shared universe. It's one of my real passions.
Wow, you're a real expert then.
Borderline. you know?
Wow.
I don't want to Warren. What's his name? Myself.
Who
Littlefield.
knows what his name is?
Little proud.
A little proud. I'm feeling a little Warren Little proud. Rachel Green's another one of the characters.
Is her last name Green?
Yeah.
Every other name's like, like pop culture wise, rung a bell. I didn't know her last name was Green. I just guessed she's just Rachel.
Yeah.
She's like Cher.
Yes. but for the
that my-
Rachels.
I think
is that my go-to example?
I think Cher may now be referenced more in the show than The Simpsons.
Wow.
But it's normally that one reference.
Thank you.
Like Cher?
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Yes, you're
Thank
welcome.
you for sharing.
Very good.
Do you reckon anyone's ever noticed that before? That Cher sounds a bit like Cher?
Oh, I don't know that they have.
Yeah, well, that feels clever.
How very droll.
So, of Jennifer Aniston, Littlefield has said, "We loved her and wanted her. The problem was she was tied to another series, so we took her in second position. When it was time to go
What does that mean?
I think it's...
You know, you start missionary, you change.
thought you were going to...
Second position.
Second position.
Oh, I'll let Jess say
You get a bit...
not me. I didn't say it. Just implied.
When it was time to go into production and start shooting episodes, she was still under an option at CBS,
What does that mean? Sorry.
and no one had been successful about getting her released. Dave, you're having to work pretty hard for some of these now.
Yeah.
If you're finding innuendo in that. I was told that we had to replace her. This is Littlefield. There was too much risk, but I said, no, we're not going to do that. I have a boner. So, yeah, no, I can see that last one I can see.
Yeah, I won't
can
do
see
that.
last one.
Do anything for love. I have a boner.
So they asked Littlefield, they said, will you personally guarantee that if she doesn't get released that you'll finance the reshooting of these episodes? So they're shooting these episodes and it would cost them a lot of money to reshoot them if they had to swap her out.
Whoa, that would cost heaps.
And he said, he was like, well, no, but we'll figure something out.
That was enough?
He said, we were incredibly vulnerable and business affairs thought we were nuts. Every time we shot another episode with Jennifer, we put millions of dollars at risk.
Ooh.
But it all worked out. Sounds like, yeah.
So not just the pilot, but like they were starting to film season 1.
That's what it sounds like.
They didn't legally have her.
Wait, hang on. What did I say there? Yeah, another episode. Yeah, that's interesting. He said, we also took Matthew Perry in second position to a futuristic hour series at LAX, but we didn't think that was much of a threat.
Oh,
Brutal, but also accurate.
Matt, we watched the pilot and read the summary, and it's not going to happen.
Apparently, I don't think Perry's been super nice about that show either.
It sounds stupid.
I saw a little clip out of it and I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of get
Why
Get
it's
it.
so stupid?
What's the tall guy from Drew Carey show and from that?
Ron Stiles from Whose Line?
That's him, and he's like playing a robot,
Oh, he's
part
so funny.
robot
Oh.
sort of guy with a weird voice.
You won me over. I'm back in.
Yeah, no, that's what I was watching. I'm like, this could be something, but
10 seasons, I told you.
a bit of it. The clips I saw were a bit corny, but it could have grown into something maybe. If either of those projects or both of them went forwards, and Friends could have been like in a lot of trouble. Before the show aired, the co-creator of Cheers, a man named James Burrows, had a good feeling about the show, so he brought the 6 stars to Vegas to party, telling them to enjoy themselves as, quote, "This is your last shot at anonymity. Once the show comes on the air, you guys will never be able to go anywhere without being hounded."
Have fun. You'd be like,
That
oh,
is-
okay.
An amazing prediction.
Yeah, and this guy, he's like a TV legend. He's directed over 1,000 episodes of TV sitcoms.
And did he have what was his position with Friends?
He went on to direct some episodes, so maybe that's how he was connected there. But he'd obviously seen some of it. Maybe he directed some first season episodes.
And he was like,
But it had all been shot, but he hadn't aired. And he's like, he just knew it was going to be big. On September the 22nd, 1994 at 8:30 p.m., Friends premiered between Mad About You at 8 and Seinfeld at 9. In testing, the pilot rated as a high week. I don't know what that scale is, but I'm like,
I think that's me in general.
yeah, you're a high week.
Yeah, I'm on the cusp of average.
Yeah.
I mean, is a low week better or worse than a high week?
I read it
your
as a high
high-
week's better than a low week.
You're better at being weak.
I think it's a
No. Yeah. Low
week, high week,
medium week, high week,
low good.
medium good, high good.
So it's pretty low still.
I think it's pretty low, but
Yeah.
according to Littlefield, that's okay. Things don't always test great, but we were hopeful.
So why do you test?
Yeah, that's
If you
confusing,
just
isn't it?
ignore it.
Yeah, that is
Have,
quite confusing.
have you ever seen a pilot of a show and gone, oh, this is great?
Yeah.
Like, pilots are always a bit shit.
They've got to get through all the exposition and
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff.
You got to give everything 3 episodes.
Which is unfortunate because in pilot season they
Yeah.
don't really do that. But I guess that then some of them get picked up, and it must be such a frustrating thing. Takes like the chance of getting to a pilot's a huge effort. To get beyond that is huge. And then to get to the end of a first season and into multiple seasons, it just so few would make it. It's like turtles' eggs at a beach, you know?
Yeah, the chances of actually making it to be another turtle that drops off other eggs. It really makes you think. Sometimes I just like to have a deep thought.
About second position.
That turtle's in second position.
He said it was not an instant hit, but there was this slow, wonderful build. I looked up the ratings, and the first episode had 20 million viewers.
Isn't it a hit?
Apparently, I think that's a good. That's not seen as a blinder hit, but that is a really good. At the time, that would have been Australia's whole population.
Yeah, that's a high week.
Would you guys be happy if an episode of our podcast got 20 million listens?
Oh, what are we dropping down?
Yeah, Jess, that would mean less than everyone in the country's heard it.
Yeah.
We're required listening.
Yeah, you're right. That was a
Through high
stupid
schools
question
and-
on my part.
You never know what will turn on you. So 20 million, and if they're like, oh yeah,
But it was. I think that's still
High week.
very good. But according to him, so build the ratings did build.
but I suppose you were right when you said it's a great slot. Mad About You and Seinfeld
Yeah, that's
are
true.
like peak.
Yeah.
They're killing it. So
People are like,
Sticking
I'm going to
around.
watch those two. Should I?
I'll give the first
I'm
one.
going
of
to
this a
bother
go.
finding the remote.
Yeah, and often the first one's higher, isn't it? And then people drop off.
Yes.
Then
yeah.
they find the actual audience.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But the ratings built in this case.
Ooh.
And even by the end of the first season, they were regularly cracking 30 million, which is seen as being like,
Bonus.
Cracking 30 million bonus.
Every
And
week.
that's just the men watching.
Yeah.
by the second season, they moved it to the 8 p.m. time slot, and they never looked back. It was the Thursday night anchor for the rest of its run. But were the quote-unquote friends actually friends in real life?
Oh, wow.
I've never thought-
Drama!
I'm really hoping for some sweet drama.
I live for it.
According to Rolling Stone's 1995 cover story about the show, the actors all got together to watch every show on Thursday nights.
That's lame.
Like real friends.
Really?
Yeah. And the 3 male leads travelled to Europe together after the first season wrapped. Also down the line, Jennifer Aniston became Cox's daughter's godmother.
Godmother.
Well, am I losing my mind? I don't even realise I'm mispronouncing these words.
Godmother.
Can I say godmother?
Wow.
That doesn't sound favourable.
It's very Hollywood.
Yeah, for sure. You've got a godmother, then a godmother.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
What role does the godmother play?
Oh, if you don't know.
Oh, it's embarrassing. It's rude to ask.
Yeah.
Oh.
It really is.
I do apologise.
Can I please shotgun godmother to all of your future children? Both of you.
Yes, you can.
If you give them helicopters.
Obviously. What kind of godmother would I be if I wasn't giving them my godchildren?
Right, I know it's rude to talk about, but that is obviously rule number 1 of being a godmother.
Choppers. Choppers for all.
Get him to the chopper. Number 1. For the christening, get him to the chopper.
Yeah, that's something people don't know. Arnold Schwarzenegger was whoever that person was godmother.
Yeah.
Is that even a real quote? Get him to the chopper. The show is sometimes called the sitcom for Generation X. According to the AV Club article I was talking about before, Gen Xers did not buy into the job for life corporations their parents did, understanding the jobs came and went, as did authority figures. On the show,
The man.
and symbolised by a slew of unhelpful parents. But friends would always be there.
Yeah, all their parents are pretty shit,
Yeah.
if I'm remembering correctly. Yes, I am, as always.
In this cultural landscape, the Friends theme song, partially penned by the series creators, made perfect sense. Well, no one told you life was going to be this way. Your job's a joke. You're broke. Your love life's D.O.A. A far cry from turning the world on with a smile or celebrating the happy days that are yours and mine. This is all still from a quote from that article. Waitress Rachel, who starts the
Sorry,
series...
is this still the song?
No.
I was like, I don't remember this verse. Gonna be this way, Rachel the waitress. Wait, is this the extended cut? When did you go from theme song
like the
to
full-
article?
The full
Far
length.
Cry, sorry.
The full length of Prince of Bel-Air. You know?
Yeah, like the full version.
The full
No one
version.
knows the second verse.
Nah.
I thought I was singing the song, and then was I not singing?
No.
No, you didn't change tone at all. And then I thought, I'm not a fan, but this doesn't sound familiar.
Your job's a joke, you broke. Your love life's D.O.A. End song.
Right,
Okay.
because I was thinking,
D.O.A. There you go. Change of tone. Now he
Rachel the
understands.
waitress is a great character.
Well, I got through a full sentence before that.
No, but
thought
honestly,
was all
I
in
was
the
also
song.
confused.
Yeah,
what was the
great.
next sentence?
A far cry from turning the world
Far
on with
cry
a
from
smile.
turn.
Could be, don't you think that could be a
Yes,
line?
Dave, I was on your side until he said Rachel, the waitress. I was
Yeah,
like, oh, hang on.
That's when I twigged as
Or
well.
celebrating the happy days. I mean, they're quoting a couple of different sitcom theme songs. So they're saying that the song is a little bit more gritty than Happy Days theme or whatever the song that was talking about turning the world on with a smile.
Okay, cool.
Waitress Rachel, who starts the series off by walking away from a secure future with orthodontist Barry, despairs early on. What if it all doesn't come together? Chandler's job is so boring no one can even remember what it is, and most of Joey's income initially comes from being a subject in medical studies. Monica's message to Rachel at the end of the pilot is, welcome to the real world. It sucks. You're going to love it. So apparently that all sums up Gen X.
Right, but I vaguely remember reading about their lifestyle is impossible.
Is DOA.
No, the fact that they live in those apartments in a great location in New York is impossible to pay for on their wage.
I think for Rachel, it might have been, but the Monica as a full-time chef, Chandler being as some sort of executive, business executive, and Ross as a paleontologist at a museum. They, I believe, would have been fine. So I think I vaguely remember in my readings that was talked about how they were almost subsidizing the other three. Phoebe, a masseuse, Rachel, a waitress, and Joey, an out-of-work actor. Getting medical.
Yeah,
doing
that
medical.
sounds
And there's like always long running jokes, or not really jokes, but it's like a subplot of Chandler like lending Joey money or paying for things,
Right. That's sort of how
even when they no
explain it
longer
away.
live together.
Right.
Do they explain how they all know each other?
Yeah,
So Monica and
Ross are siblings.
So
they went
met-
to school with Rachel.
so they
Rachel and Monica were friends
They met in the womb.
in school. No, post
Out of the room, they are different ages.
I knew that. Just playing dumb for comedic
and
effect.
then,
It's not fun when you explain that.
so that's how those are connected.
Chandler went to high school as well, I think, or
Right.
college.
Okay.
College with Ross.
Chandler was college with Ross.
Mm-hmm.
So they all come out from Monica. Monica was, it's very even, but if anyone was initially slightly more the star than anyone else, it was Monica and her role. Like everything kind of revolves around her to some extent. Like it all sort of fans out, the group fans out from her. But, and in those early episodes, she was the only one that had solo scenes or her friends outside of the group. We only met her co-workers and stuff like that early on, but apparently like very soon after that, they made it all very even screen time and stuff like that. Or whatever. Who gives a fuck? All right.
You
I do.
because you're giving this report.
And I asked because I had no idea.
Great. But I can't remember about Phoebe and
Me either. And Joey. I don't remember where they came from.
yeah. But I mean, Chandler and Joey are like best mates.
Yes, but I don't know when they
When that
met.
happened, yeah. By the end of the first season, even the theme song, I'll Be There For You by the Rembrandts, that we were talking about just before, became a hit. This was not expected. It was never written to be a hit song. It was written specifically as the show's theme.
So did it go for a full?
It went for less than a minute. and Kaufman and Crane are actually literally writers on the song. So I don't think they ever expected to write a hit song. But when a radio DJ looped it to make it closer to the length of a normal single, it became so popular that they decided to add some verses and release it as a single. When they did, it was a hit around the world, charting in the top 10 in countries like Australia, New Zealand, the UK, Ireland, Norway, and Belgium.
Wow.
And it topped the Canadian charts for 5 consecutive weeks.
Holy shit.
The cast were... moving on. Or do you have any...
end quote on those?
Yes.
This is no longer the theme song.
Do you have... I'm jumping around a little bit. Do you have any questions about the song there, Dave?
No.
They were a band for a little while before that, the Rembrandts, and I think it's one of those kind of cursed chalices. It would have made them a lot of money, but they went from playing little underground clubs apparently to playing huge shows.
But only people want to hear that.
Yeah,
1 minute
people want to
song.
hear that song. Yeah. So I don't know whether they'd take it back or not. It must be nice to live a comfortable life, but it must be a bit tedious that no one gives a shit about the music you want to make or whatever. Anyway, so talking about money, how much do you reckon they were paid per episode first season?
First season
Yeah.
10 grand.
per episode.
Per episode, yeah. I mean, it's not that fascinating. It was $22,500
Per episode.
per episode.
Pretty great, isn't it?
Are you fucking
Yeah, it's
joking?
amazing. I guess it's almost like actors, you make no money, but you're buying a lottery ticket every time you go to an audition, and you might just make
If
it
you get
big.
picked up. Yeah, it's just like you go.
Holy shit.
98% of people on $0 a year. And
Yeah.
the other people's like, yeah, I made 400 grand last year.
Yeah,
And on a show that no one's even heard of yet.
yeah, that's right.
It's like,
that,
what?
it could potentially not be seen, not be a hit, and you still get at least a really good year's wage. So everyone was on the same wage in season 1. Season 2, things changed a bit, and different cast members started getting slightly different salaries.
Really?
Which makes no sense.
I would be pissed off. Unless I was richer than everyone else.
But then that would make you feel weird in different ways, right? I think it's just an uncomfortable sort of scenario. And they agreed. According to the article on Emmys.com, which a lot of the quotes from Little Man and Kaufman and Crane are from this article. Very interesting interview. So according to that article, it says, prior to negotiating for season 3, the cast decided to negotiate collectively, despite Warner Brothers' preference, who was obviously the studio, their preference for individual deals. Salaries were upped to $75,000 per episode in the 3rd season, then $85,000 for season 4. By season 5, they were taking $100,000, then $125,000, and it kept stepping up. To return for season 7 and 8, the 6 actors were paid $750,000 per show.
I mean, it's the biggest show in the world.
And finally, the last 2 seasons, 1 million per episode.
Yeah, I knew they were doing 1 million. I thought it was just the last season, but the last 2.
And they
Are we talking about 20 in a season, is it? Ish?
yeah, is that
For
right?
$20 million.
And they
What the fuck?
and so they all came together and negotiated as a group, basically a mini union. And
Yeah,
they
good.
threatened to walk off, and they got a super good deal because of that sort of stuff.
Well, I think that's fair because, especially as you mentioned, like they get to a point where it's equal screen time and they're an ensemble. Like there isn't a lead actor and then like bit parts here and there where it makes sense. If somebody's working 5 days a week, 12-hour days, and somebody else is doing 3 days a week, short, like that makes sense that they get paid differently. But these are all equals.
Yeah.
Why? How would you reason that they would get paid differently?
And it just would just for camaraderie and all that sort of stuff as
Yeah,
well.
it'd be awful.
According to Littlefield, from day one, Marta and David, who is Kaufman and Crane, put forth that this was truly an ensemble show. And very quickly, the actors said, we want to be treated all as equals. I think David Schwimmer knew exactly what would hold the cast together for many, many years to come. Everyone involved with Friends made a tremendous amount of money, but it was really the wisdom of Schwimmer who said, I don't want to come to work in an environment where someone is making more. This is all our show, and we should all be treated the same. The series ran for 10 years, and during the time... Okay, that was me. I thought I was on the same point, but I was changing point there, so I can understand why you guys are being confused as I jump around.
You heard it this time.
Yeah, I did hear it that
Okay,
time.
yeah, great.
That should be I should really... Normally my reports are it's one big flowing thing, but this is just jumping in and out of different things.
Right. Mine are all dot points. Isn't that fun?
Do you have
It's a fun
Is
bit
your-
of knowledge.
We're
report
different
in
people.
dot points?
Yeah.
Because we never look at each other's reports.
Yeah. Mine's
You
all
don't
dot
write
points.
it out. Yeah, right.
I do it with paragraphs with headings on each sort of
Yeah,
section
nice,
so I
yeah.
can look back through if I need to.
That would have saved me in this case.
Do you have any idea how much Crane and Kaufman made from the show?
No,
Like,
I'm not sure, but
Are
it'll
they-
be, I imagine, more.
do you reckon they're making
as creators?
even more, like creators? And do they write a lot of the show as well?
I don't think they were. I'm not sure
But
about
as
that.
creators, would they get cut of other things?
Well, like merchandise?
Yeah, maybe.
Well, I imagine that every time it's syndicated, so for example, if it's on
Yeah.
Netflix or something, a thing like that, and it keeps getting repeated, I think that's big money.
Yeah. Whereas maybe the cast don't get.
I think they'd get
Would
some.
they get a slice of that? Oof, yes. So all I need to do is land a TV show.
in
Yes,
America.
and it has to be the biggest show of the generation.
I don't think that's impossible.
Not too much to ask.
No, I don't think that's too much to ask.
Do you think I could ever get to a place? You were the wrong person to ask. You're my biggest cheerleader. I was going to say, do you think I could get to a place where I could get paid $1 million for an episode?
Yeah,
Yeah. See, I mean,
no doubt about that. I'm
Year
surprised
of Bob.
is it not happening already?
every year he says this is your year.
And
Year.
every year it's been a better year than the last.
Every year he says, this is the year you get paid $1 million in one single week.
I think Crane and Kaufman did also write for the show.
Yeah,
I just had a
right.
quick look, but that would make sense.
Yeah,
That's
so
sort of
that's
their background.
So we don't know how much, but it's safe to say they got
And they're
Shit ton of
producing
money.
EP creators.
Yeah.
Like they
Yeah.
had a few different roles.
a few different hats.
A few different hats, yeah, because they had all that money, they could buy a few different.
You can buy a
bloody
fancy
hats.
hat, no
Yeah.
problem.
gold plated.
No one's going to ask you any questions when you walk around with a bit of a gold-plated hat, a fedora.
Gold-plated fedora.
Oh, it's going to be that for sure.
All right, new point. The series ran for 10 years, and during the time, many of the cast went through marriages and parenthood. Lisa Kudrow was the first to get pregnant, and they wrote this into the show in season 4. Though Kudrow was unsure about Phoebe getting pregnant as well, the writers came up with a storyline where Phoebe would act as a surrogate for her brother's triplets.
So she was genuinely pregnant then.
She was genuine.
Oh, that's cool.
Did you genuinely have triplets?
No.
No.
Oh,
She genuinely had one son.
a single.
A single. Yeah, as we call them.
A single.
In the final season, though, when Courtney Cox was pregnant, it was not written into the show. And this was because in the show, there had already been a storyline about how Chandler and Monica couldn't have kids. Instead, they used camera tricks, props, and costumes to hide the pregnancy.
I love when they do that because it's so obvious. Like really big bags. All of a sudden, they're wearing very baggy clothing. I was watching. I had like Will and Grace on. I wasn't watching Will and Grace. I had the TV on, and Will and Grace was on. I just want to make that very clear. I don't know why.
And what room were you sitting in?
I was in the Triple J studio. I was trying to avoid saying that, and I was on radio.
Yeah, I knew that. I knew you. You just wanted to talk about
Year
that.
of the Bop.
Matt,
I
you've
have
mentioned
the
it. We don't
TV
have to
on.
finish the story now.
I had the TV on and like no sound or anything. It's just like moving pictures. But Grace, for the entire like 5-minute scene, was sitting on the couch and had a blanket pulled up way too high, like in a strange position, and a cushion on her because she was reading a book. But like it was so obvious.
Why not just put her behind a bench?
Yeah. There's a lot of that.
Put her in a cardboard
Behind a
box or something.
vase, yeah.
Oh, we're moving
All of that.
again.
In Brooklyn Nine-Nine, she just has this giant, one of the character is not pregnant, the actress is, and she just has this giant handbag that she sort of holds across her front in a very natural way that women hold handbags.
On the
think
X-Files,
Oh.
they wrote in Gillian Anderson. Well, she was pregnant in real life, but Scully wasn't pregnant. So they just made her get abducted by aliens, and they were performing like weird things that looked like they were suctioning her large stomach, which is just a pregnant belly. But if for a non-pregnant woman, it looked weird. What are these aliens doing?
Oh, weird.
New thing. Friends is an interesting example of
Nailed
changing
it.
social standards. There were things in the show that caused a lot of controversy at the time that probably wouldn't now, and vice versa. I haven't gone into these heaps, but one instance, Kaufman remembered that there were groups that decided that things should not be represented on television. The two I remember specifically were 1996's The One with the Lesbian Wedding.
Mm-hmm.
So people didn't like that in the 90s, the lesbian, and you can't imagine that would cause a lot of controversy now.
You'd hope not.
And then there was one with condoms where there was one condom left and Monica and Rachel were fighting over which one got it. We weren't even allowed to show the condom. It had to be in a box. And you'd think that would be, I think that wouldn't be an issue now.
I think if you have a communal box of condoms with your housemate.
You're in a party house.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to. Yeah. I was like, good for you guys
you
for
guys-
pooling your money and buying a big box of
Yep.
dingers.
Woo, high five.
Woohoo!
Saving money, saving the environment, saving sexual health.
But I've only
Very
used
important.
4 in this box and they're all empty. You've used 8. That's not fair.
Yeah.
Economically, it doesn't work out.
It's silly.
It tears people apart.
Yeah.
When sex is about bringing people together.
I mean, he's right in
it's
so many
true.
ways, but also I hated that he said that.
So both those shows did go to air though. So they did have a show called The One with the Lesbian Wedding, or did they? Did a group?
Yeah, no, so that was aired, but they copped
right.
a lot of flack
I thought
for
they
it.
may have
Yeah.
not been allowed to.
No, but it just caused some issues. They weren't allowed to show the condom. That was true. They had to show the box.
Dingers.
And I think those things would be fine now, but in recent years, the show, especially, it feels like in the last 6 months, especially, show's been getting some retroactive controversy from the way they portray a range of issues. In recent times, I just went on a search trying to find articles about this, and there were so many. So just a few examples. There's an article called "Millennials Watching Friends on Netflix Shocked by Storylines." Still Friends, The Trouble with Old Sitcoms, and probably my favorite, could Friends be any more problematic? And these articles talk about how Friends included fatphobic, homophobic, sexist, transphobic jokes. Also featured very few non-white characters, like very, very few, maybe 2 across the 10 years.
There was also an English girlfriend. Whoa, diversity.
Yeah, they talked about that a bit. They went over to England, and that was why the storyline was written in as sort of a tie-in, because they were huge in England, so they wanted to go
Right.
over. And apparently Richard Branson and Fergie did cameos in it. And I think I read Kaufman saying that she kind of, like, looking back, probably didn't need those sort of stunt.
Yeah, I mean it's already huge.
Yeah, so it's an interesting one, but didn't necessarily need Richard Branson to be on there.
Yeah, they really they joke hard about Ross's ex-wife being a lesbian,
Yeah,
and that's shameful to him.
right. Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's really embarrassing for him, and they're very uncomfortable around her relationship.
And there's that weird storyline where their kid has a male nanny who was like Freddie Prinze Jr. or something. And Ross was just like, I don't understand. How can you be a man and a nanny?
Yeah.
And he was like, he felt really uncomfortable about it. And everything they showed, like the nanny was like super good with his kids, but he like in the end he said, I can't deal with it. You got to fire him.
But is that maybe just a joke about how he's a weirdo? Like, was that weird at the time? Like, even people were watching, like, who,
or is it more
who
to
would
do
act
with like
that?
wives being upset if the nanny was too good looking?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
It just seems it seems so bizarre.
very-
Yeah, I saw it a couple of years ago. I'm like, but it's hard when you're watching things out of context
Right.
to
so-
understand if it's the time or if they were, what the intention was even at the time.
Yeah.
Some of them it's pretty clear, like some of them are just clearly homophobic jokes and
yeah. It's funny that at the time I reckon it was probably like kind of progressive. Because I also read recently that I hadn't really noticed at the time, you just sort of let it wash over you, but all three female characters have kids, but in non-traditional ways.
right.
So whether that's Phoebe is a surrogate, Rachel's a single mum, and Monica can't have kids, so adopts. So like people are kind of praising it that way for being quite progressive and showing, representing that kind of like that's a bit diverse, but then you look at so many other things and you're like, no, you fucked up a lot too. Or I don't know, not fucked up, but it doesn't age that well now, I think.
Yeah, it's tricky. Like how should you judge something like that?
Yeah.
If I don't know, it's a tricky one. I'm not smart enough to have
Yeah,
an
I
answer
can't
to
quite
that.
figure it out.
Dugon's probably not the place people come for such
Yeah,
commentary anyway.
sure.
Yeah, let's make more jokes about second position.
Which is also a ballet move.
Yes. There's 6 positions.
Sex or ballet? Which one are you talking about?
Sex.
I only know of 3 positions sexually.
And ballet.
Standing, sitting, lying. Is that right?
Yes.
That's 3?
And upside down.
Oh, 4.
Oh, wow.
The mythical 4th position.
Yeah, but you have to go to space to do it, so it's very hard.
It's expensive. It is very hard.
Oh, so hard.
As the show blew up, so did the fame of the cast, and the producers of the show accommodated their desires to head to Hollywood with flexible shooting schedules. During the Friends run, for example, I'll list a few of the movies that the actors did. Lisa Kudrow was in movies like Romy and Michelle's High School Reunion.
Fuck, it's good.
It's Romy, isn't it?
Romy.
It's Roman,
Which is it's known as being a cracker of a movie.
Cult classic.
Analyze This, and she was also in Analyze That.
Oh.
Jennifer Aniston was in She's the One, Office Space, which is another classic, and Bruce Almighty. Courtney Cox was in Scream, Scream 2, and Scream 3. Matthew Perry was in Fools Rush In, 3 to Tango, and The Whole 9 Yards. David Schwimmer was in 6 Days and 7 Nights and Picking Up the Pieces. And Matt LeBlanc was in Lookin' Italian and Ed. And Ed is a movie where he played baseball with a chimp. And I cannot wait to do it on Primates. Anyway.
Sounds like, did you list that in order of success just then? Sounded a little bit like it. And he was in Ed.
Yeah,
Ta-da!
his movie career, I think Ed was, was like a big vehicle for him, but
Even post Friends, I feel
won-
like he's just sort of stuck to more television stuff.
yeah,
He's still
but television
working.
is the new movies,
Oh.
babies.
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 Oh, babies.
Littlefield said, our cast was in demand as we watched their popularity soar. I haven't done an accent for them until now. Why now?
Until halfway through that sentence.
We knew they had choices.
Oh, God.
And the one thing
It's
the
so
producers
bad.
were great about was that there be enough time during hiatus
I'm so sorry, Americans.
where they could do films.
Matt, no.
There was flexibility in when we would start back up.
What are you doing?
That was great.
Okay, thank you, Dave.
2 different takes, but I loved it.
God, you're good.
Just didn't realize I was doing very, very specific dialect.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah,
Midwest.
Midwest Ohio, baby.
Midwest.
Midwest, yeah.
Yeah, not low, medium.
Yeah.
Whatever the scale was before.
It was a
It was
high
high
week Midwest.
week.
Movie schedules weren't the only obstacle for the producers. A few seasons into the series, Matthew Perry started to battle with addiction to prescription drugs and alcohol. Littlefield remembered noticing that Perry had become almost frail, and realizing that there was a problem, he approached Perry's management and the producers of the show, and they acknowledged that there was a problem. In 1997, Perry went to rehab. He again went to rehab in 2001. And years later, when interviewed on the BBC, he said that, quote, "I don't remember 3 years of it. I was a little out of it at the time, somewhere between season 3 and 6. Like
That sounds pretty out of it. You can't remember any of it.
Yeah. But he did stress that he was never high at work, just painfully hungover.
Oh, wow.
Which in some ways is worse for your performance.
Yeah.
Arguably.
So the season did very well. Rated high. The whole way through, very consistently rated high. But the finale, rated its bloody socks off, over 50 million viewers. Not as high as Seinfeld, but, whatever. One of the main storylines that ran through the show was the relationship between Ross and Rachel.
On again, off again. We were on a break, etc.
In the pilot, Ross asks Rachel, "Can I ask you out sometime?" And she says, "Okay," but it's not for a year and a half before they finally go out. Crane saw one... All right, this is as I've written it. Crane saw one of the biggest challenges. And that's what threw me. Crane saw...
He saw one of the biggest challenges. But then he saw 1-2.
Crane saw one of the biggest challenges for them was keeping the audience invested in the relationship. And when Friends finished up on May 6, 2004 with the episode The Last One, the Ross and Rachel arc came to a close with Ross confessing his love for Rachel, and they lived happily ever after, we assume. It was almost like the cliche thing. I think he apparently had to run to the airport to stop her. He was at the wrong airport. What a bloody series of events. It's a real comedy of errors. In that episode, Monica and Chandler and their adopted twins moved to the suburbs as well. So there's a couple of big things there. I think Phoebe and Joey were also in the episode.
They didn't end up together.
Nah.
Oh,
No, they did. They talked about it. They're like, we couldn't do that. That would be too neat.
yeah.
Littlefeld was no longer at the network by this time, but his fantasy, he said, was that Chandler and Joey having a spin-off together. But that wouldn't have made a lot of sense with Chandler and Monica having moved to the suburbs, start a family. Instead, NBC made Joey, a spin-off series focusing on Matt LeBlanc's Joey character.
Oh.
The titular Joey. The series took over the time slot from Friends, but failed to gain a big enough audience and was cancelled during the second season. Crane and LeBlanc... Oh my God. Talking has been so difficult today.
You're nearly there, mate.
Crane and LeBlanc...
Blanc.
LeBlanc.
LeBlanc.
Crane had a LeBlanc in second
Crane
position.
and LeBlanc in second position later teamed up again in 2011 for a new comedy series called Episodes. Heard about this?
Yes.
Yeah, it's good.
This series found more success and it aired 5 seasons. In it, LeBlanc plays a version of himself, which scored him the 2012 Golden Globe Award for Best Actor in a Television Series, Comedy or Musical. Do you know that?
That's cool.
And he was sort of critically acclaimed, but I didn't know that how.
Did he? But
He
he
won awards for playing himself.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either. I've seen some of it and I think it's pretty good from what I've seen.
What a rave review. I've seen some of it and it's all right.
I think.
Yeah. It's, there is often discussion.
IMO?
It's no Ed, I assume. I can only assume that is.
Oh, no, I think
Which
that's a
one
given.
was up for Razzies, Ed? So he's won awards at either end of the spectrum. There is often discussion about some sort of reunion, but it doesn't sound like it will ever happen. According to Kaufman, one of the reasons there would never be a reunion is because the show was about that time in your life when your friends are your family. Stop pitching it to me, Kaufman.
No.
You got
love it.
you got the pilot up already.
You got it.
Yeah, now by this stage, like all their kids would be grown up and
Yeah, it just
they don't
sounds like-
see each other anymore.
No.
No, how old would their kids be?
Oh, I saw that
mid
on.
high school, wouldn't they?
It depends on the kid. I saw that on social media recently. It was like Ben would be this age, the twins would be this age.
Right.
and-
Well,
yeah.
the twins were right at the end, right?
Yeah.
When did I say the season finished?
But Ross already had a kid, I think.
Oh, yeah. Ben, that was Ben, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I saw a great. I was watching a few. There was a little a special filmed with Conan O'Brien asking him questions on set, and they were throwing like what do you call things that go wrong on a thing?
Bloopers?
Bloopers, thank you.
Wow.
And one of
That
them
was a blooper.
And they had Ben. There was this one scene where Ross was determined to hear Ben's first word. So he's going to him, Ben, say dada. I'm going to tell your mum you said it either way, so you may as well just say it. Say dada. And he's meant to not say anything. And he kept going, dada.
Aw.
The baby.
The baby.
The actor.
Kept fucking him up.
Oh, that's so cute.
Which is,
though.
and he's saying to Rachel and Jennifer Aniston every time, he's like, oh.
But David
just melting into herself.
David Schwimmer's just cracking the shit. Shut up!
You're ruining my scene.
I'm David Schwimmer.
I've done it mid quote again. So she said, one of the reasons why will never be a reunion is because the show was about that time in your life when your friends are your family. And once you have your own family, it changes. Once Rachel had a baby and Monica and Chandler had their babies, life changes and the show is no longer the show.
Wow.
It's big, it's deep. I love it.
It's beautiful.
Courtney Cox has said that she had enough trouble trying to bring all 6 friends together for a reunion dinner, let alone getting them together to do any sort of reunion show. Though late-night talk show host Jimmy Kimmel had a mini Friends reunion with Aniston, Kudrow, and Cox reprising their characters for a sketch.
Fun.
Didn't see it, but I imagine it would have been a lot of fun. Dave, disagree?
No. That silence is 100% yes.
Wow.
That's bad radio.
Yeah, that is not great for us.
Give us a little friction. Give us a little bit
A
of
nod.
light and shade.
Oh, I hate Kimmel. That guy is a prick.
Wow.
Is that good enough?
Yes.
Don't believe that at all. I am
Well,
more of a
you
Fallon
said
kind of
it.
guy.
You're a Fallon guy.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't care.
Neither do I, to be honest. I don't care either way. But if I had to pick one, Jay Leno, baby.
Really?
No, he's probably my least favourite.
Wow, this is a
I cannot get a read on him.
shock. Let us in, Dave.
Yeah,
I love
Dave.
late night.
But as soon as you go, really? He goes, no,
No,
it's stupid. What do you think? Yeah, me too.
I used to like James Corden, but now he seems pretty freaking annoying.
Yeah, he's annoying.
Who do you like?
I don't like any of them.
I was like Letterman growing up.
Yeah, you're big into Letterman, aren't you?
Yeah, Craig Ferguson. I thought it was
Yeah,
great,
he's all right.
but they're both done now. I think the current one's probably
Colbert?
Yeah,
I liked him more as a character.
Yeah, same. Conan probably,
Yeah, I like Conan. He seems like a cool guy.
but I thought all those
but
shows
I'd
are a
never
bit
watch
boring
them.
now. Maybe
Yeah,
never watched
and their
them.
interviews are no
Just
good.
stop the monologue.
Yeah,
That's so bad.
monologues are dead.
Topical humor is just so boring. Did you see this in the news? You see this? No. And I work in the news.
Craig Ferguson's monologues were great fun because he fucked with them a little bit. He went right up and did it down the
Yeah, that's
barrel.
true. That was fun.
He actually, I'm talking about. He actually would shake the camera. Can you believe it?
What? What? The crew must have hated him.
I went to a taping and he fucked with it all. Like they shot the first 2 things out of sequence. So he'd plant a callback. He'd do something that we knew was going to be coming up. He'd call forward to it or something like that. It was real fun anyway.
Wow.
What a story. Will you be telling that on your late night appearance?
Matt, that was so great. Thank you for being so brave and vulnerable in the space.
I just want to be present.
And you are. And we are.
Does anyone want to help me edit this episode?
God, no.
You know when I listed topical humor as my favorite? That kind of humor is way better.
Get on with the report.
There was also a near full cast reunion when all but Matthew Perry appeared on a televised tribute to James Burrows, the man who took him to Vegas. Perry couldn't be there because of an acting commitment. In the lead up to
Bullshit.
Fortune.com went through some of the show's achievements, including we're very close to the end, by the way. In the 10 seasons in which Friends aired, it consistently ranked in the top 10 of the final season ratings, even in its first season. Its popularity never waned right up to the final episode, which pulled in an astronomical 52.5 million viewers.
Astronomical is such a good word.
In syndication, Friends continues to attract the same huge audiences that it did when it was hot off the presses. According to USA Today, Warner Brothers earns $1 billion annually in syndication revenue.
Shit.
$1 billion.
So they're all still getting paid heaps.
When the cast renegotiated their deals, Jess has done a little bit of a Dr. Evil there.
Yeah.
Is that?
Oh, I missed it.
Billion.
When the cast renegotiated their deals as a team, Fortune.com says They receive 2% of the show's syndication income. So every member of the core cast makes approximately $20 million a year. Ongoing.
What the actual... You'd never need to work again. Why the fuck are they in movies?
Oh, but they're not really.
And Jennifer Aniston's done quite a bit.
Yeah, because she just loves working.
Courtney Cox can fuck off.
Cougar Town.
Fuck off, Cougar Town.
Whoa.
Yuck.
Whoa.
We're
No
taking down
good.
the big greats here. The
What's
monologue.
Matthew Perry done
Cougar Town.
lately?
He was in
And Schwimmer?
the rebooted Odd Couple.
All of you fuck
Schwimmer
off
played
on your
Kardashian's
yachts.
dad.
He was also Merman on that Madagascar series.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
The sad
Merman?
giraffe. Is that? I think that's his name.
No, it's not.
He played someone in a podcast serial I listened to.
Okay. So,
Big bucks.
So he's
But it was
doing
like a
really
network
well.
thing. No, it was like a big budget podcast.
A big budget podcast.
It was a budget podcast. It
What
had
are we?
We're a budget podcast, that's sure. For sure.
There's two types of budgets.
Yeah. No, I heard the tone difference, yeah.
The whole episode felt like a bit of a fun fact episode rather than much of a story, right?
But you have fun.
But I do have some fun facts, potentially
I will decide.
fun. You will decide. Here they are. The list of guest stars is pretty epic and includes, this is on Friends, by the
Brad
way.
Pitt.
Yes. Oh, can you name any others?
Magnum PI.
Yes.
Tom Selleck.
Greg Kinnear. I don't have him on there, but he's
Don't have
definitely
him on
in
there,
it.
but yep.
All right, listen.
Julia Roberts, George Clooney, Robin Williams, Charlton Heston, Sean Penn,
Holy shit.
and Bruce Willis.
I don't remember. I remember Bruce Willis was dating
Yeah,
Rachel,
right? Yeah.
but I don't remember Julia Roberts. That's cool. I love Julia Roberts.
One star who asked to be on the show but was knockbacked was Juzzy T, Justin Timberlake.
He asked
he
to be on.
asked.
According to Crane, we had a meeting with him and he was lovely, but we didn't have a good part for him. Kaufman said, "My kids were furious. They wanted to kill me." That feels weird. You feel like you... They found a part for Fergie.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Timberlake can actually act. He's an...
Elle Macpherson was in it.
Yeah. I
She was
reckon
no good.
You can find a role for...
Most of those cameos were bad.
Right.
Like Bruce Willis was not good in Friends.
Oh, right.
'Cause
he
Tom
is very
Selleck was
good.
okay. He was a recurring character though.
Have you seen Bruce Willis in the movie Die Hard? Because he's very good in that.
That
He
Christmas
is.
film.
Yes.
Yes, I
so
have.
good in that Christmas film.
Yeah. I
But
love how
Brad
the sleigh
Pitt-
bells are jingling.
Brad Pitt is terrible in Friends. He sucks so bad.
He's a good actor. Have you ever seen him in the movie
Die Hard.
Die Hard?
He saves the motherfucking day.
Oh, does he? Brad Pitt. Bloody hell.
Yeah. Very versatile.
Hmm.
Anyway, my point is we all make mistakes.
Yeah, by saying no to Justin Timberlake,
Correct.
which we'll never do as a podcast.
God, no, when he inevitably comes a knocking on our
Lesson
door.
learned. We'll find a place for him.
Well, so
Speaking
you
of
can do a report.
knocking on doors, at the beginning of the series,
Leonard Cohen?
Monica's doors had the number 5 on it. The producers later realized that it didn't make sense as Monica lived on a higher floor. They changed her apartment number to 20. The number on Chandler's apartment also changed from 4 to 19.
God, that was fun.
It's weird that they.
Wow.
It's Matt. It's weirder. People at home are
They
going to notice more.
changed the numbers?
But the house. But the apartment stayed the same.
Crazy.
The apartment stayed the same.
Wow.
Yes.
That brings up way more questions for people at home
Yeah.
than not changing it.
But also, how could the people at home know what level they were? They were up some stairs, but they could still have been number 4 or 5. That's
Right.
fine.
I reckon they had a board meeting about this.
Yeah, that's fucked. But thank you so much for that incredibly fun fact.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to choose to take that sincerely.
You're 2 from 2 here.
Not long before, this is the final one, not long before Bruce Willis did a stint on Friends, as we just mentioned, he made the whole 9 yards with Matthew Perry. During the shoot, Perry bet with Willis that the film would be number 1 in the box office on the opening weekend. It was number 1 on the opening weekend. Perry won the bet, meaning that Willis had to donate his fee for appearing on Friends to charity.
Why would you bet against your film doing well?
It just sounds like Bruce Willis is a fucking badass. That's why.
I think this film sucks.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm picturing him. He's in his trailer going, "This is a piece of shit."
And Matthew Perry's like, man, you're in it, I'm in it, it's going to be number 1. I bet you. And he's like, right.
Whatever.
That's amazing.
It's just money.
He thought it was going to suck. Oh, that's fun. Jess, do you think?
Sure.
Great.
Not as fun as the one where they changed the numbers.
Because of a layout.
Oh, wacky.
That is, that's what I should have probably called it.
A wacky fact.
Wacky fact.
Love it.
You can get wacky fact.
What?
Sorry.
That was great.
Is that the end of your report, Matt?
That was
Great stuff. Great stuff. I gotta
Oh, wait,
say.
no, sorry. We should applaud him in an appropriate manner.
For those who don't know, they clap in the theme song. Imagine if you
you
would
made
have
it this
listened
far.
this far if you didn't.
No,
know the song.
So no one told you life was gonna be this way.
You say people that might not be fans. Not a huge fan, didn't know too much about it. Still really enjoyed that. So thank you.
Thanks, Dave. That's very nice.
Yeah, well done.
And I'd like to also thank the man who shall not be named that suggested this topic, who has been struck from the internet record.
Yes.
Will Barron. Maybe that's what the Baron is. He's living on barren soil.
Oil. Yes.
That's what that is.
His will is barren because he's not left anything to anyone.
Because he doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist. He's got no possessions.
Wow.
Do you think?
Love it.
I love it so much.
Hey, you know what we normally do? Jeez, I feel like I'm carrying you guys tonight. You know what we normally do to finish off the show? It's our fun new segment called Fact, Quote, or Question.
Oh, okay, now we're making jingles. Okay.
And it comes from someone. It comes from one of our Patreon supporters. If you want to give back to the show, if you just want to keep us going, and you listen every week, you can go to patreon.com/dogoonpod. Check out all the rewards you can get in exchange, including shout-outs. You get to vote for the topics that we actually get to shape the show, and you also can get 2 bonus episodes per month. And as Matt is about to say, if you're at the Sydney Scheinberg level, we'll read out a fact, quote, or question of your choosing.
And this week, our fact, quote, or questioner is Kevin Ulysses Packrad.
What a name, Kevin Ulysses Packrad.
And you also get to give yourself a title. And Kevin has given himself the title of Junior Vice President of Cannelloni Production.
I love cannelloni.
Love
I think it maybe was, I'm guessing that was for your benefit.
I mean, it goes down my weird esophagus quite nicely.
And
Ooh.
Jess, I live with this.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to.
Your condition sickens me.
Sorry, Dave. Again, thank you for being brave and vulnerable in the space.
Thank you so much. And thanks for cooking cannelloni, or overseeing production of cannelloni, Kevin Ulysses.
and Kevin has chosen to give us a fact.
Oh.
And here it is. It's a paragraph here. James Joyce's Ulysses is one of the hardest books to read in the English language. Though it has a huge cult following and people every year dress up as the characters and read from the book on the day June 16th, which is the day the book takes place and also called Bloomsday, after the main character, Leopoldo Bloom. But why June 19th? Joyce's...
Did you not just say June 16th?
You have sold me a puppy, Kevin. But why June 19th? It's not. Or it is.
Right.
Whichever date it is, Kevin, you son of a gun.
We've got to say we don't fact check our fact quote or question.
I have not read this yet. I wanted to learn with everyone.
Okay.
Joyce chose this day since it was the day he had his first date with his future wife, Nora Barnacle. I'm starting to wonder, is this a real fact, Kevin?
I've definitely...
Nora Barnacle?
That does sound familiar, but it does take place on Bloomsday. I've heard that.
Bloomsday. The two...
June something or other. Either the 16th or the 19th. Whichever one you can make, love. You can't come on the 16th. All right, we'll do it on the 19th. That all right?
But why the 19th?
Well...
Is there more, Matt?
The two actually had a pretty avid affair, showing so much affection in the letters they sent to each other.
Oh.
From one of the letters Joyce wrote, which sold for millions of dollars at an auction, he says, "The 2 parts of your body which do dirty things are the loveliest to me."
Oh, let's list our guesses at what they are.
Which do dirty things?
just do dirty things.
Well, like
And the
poop. So your
loveliest-
butt.
It's one. It's
One's got to be your butt, but what's the other one that
Vomiting,
does dirty
your mouth.
things in your mouth? Yeah, thank you. Yes,
Oh, he's a button mouth guy.
or a mouth and butt guy.
Well, you know, we've all got our type. He's a button mouth guy. Dave's a bloody
I'm an esophagus guy.
esophagus guy. Esophagus side. That is
Hot.
this week's fact, quote, or question.
Thank you, Kevin
Thank you.
Ulysses Packrad. That we've all learned a lot about James
Right.
Dirty Boy Joyce.
But imagine like the modern equivalent of like text messages between Justin Bieber and his fiance selling for millions.
I love that as an idea.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Wonder what his favorite dirty places are.
Yeah.
And then we also like to thank some Patreon supporters. Normally Jess comes up with some sort of a game for us to...
Yes, I thought of this early.
Great.
And I was like, oh, I've got it. And I think it's quite clear. All we need to do is give them the title of the sitcom they're in, preferably one word. A one-word sitcom
Oh, okay.
title.
I like
Okay,
it.
Great.
I like it a lot.
that a lot.
Do you like the one-word option, or do you want to open it up a bit?
No, I like one word.
One word sitcom.
Yeah.
Great.
There's also 6 of these people.
So are you thinking maybe, oh, fuck, are you thinking give them a character?
Could.
Oh, that's good too.
I hate to be upstaged, but that is good too. But we don't know them.
That's true.
But we know their names.
That's true.
Wow. Okay, so maybe if this is the 6, the characters in Friends, based on their name, we give them a profession and a character trait. God, it's fun, isn't it?
That's fun.
Well, so what do we do? All 3. Okay, great.
Well, so we get to tell them which of the 6 they are,
Yep.
a profession,
Yep.
a character trait, and the name of their sitcom.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Maybe one of the options.
What do you got, Davey boy?
I would like to kick off by thanking all the way from Blackman's Bay down in beautiful Tasmania. Well, Matt will be gigging in the month of August.
Yes. What day did you say I'll be there? On the Wednesday before
22nd.
20.
The 22nd of August,
That's
you'll be
right.
in Tasmania.
At Jokers.
Don't have a map in front of me, so I'm not sure how close Blackman's Bay is, but worth the drive, I would say. I would like to thank Zach Llewellyn.
Oh, that's good.
Zach Llewellyn.
Zach Llewellyn.
Zach with a CHE.
I think-
on the end.
I
So
think-
I'm hoping that's not Zach.
Or Zaish.
Zaish.
I think,
Zayshay.
you know how you have like Home and Away or Neighbours?
Yeah, what do you got?
I think, I was going to say it was Blackman's Bay.
What about Beach?
Love it. Beach.
Great.
And he is Phoebe.
He's such a Phoebe, the Phoebe of the show.
Yep.
Thank you, Zach, star of Beach.
Yeah, that's great.
I would also like to thank from Royal Oaks in Michigan, in the United States of America,
Michigan.
a brilliant three-word name.
Okay.
Strong American name. John Cole Wilkinson.
Oof, that is strong.
John Cole Wilkinson.
John Cole Wilkinson.
Joey.
Yeah, he's definitely a Joey.
Oh, he's a Joey.
And his sitcom that he's a star of.
Plain.
Love it. Spelt.
N.E. It's not cruel.
Oh.
It's not about his looks.
It's not like, oh, he's a bit vanilla.
Not on
It's-
like a plane, like a...
No, he
And the theme song's on a plane by Nirvana.
yes.
Yes.
Or Learn to Fly. Foo Fighters. That's the credits. See?
Yeah, great.
Old Dave Grohl versus new Dave Grohl. And it's all about a journey. God, we are just sitcom making machines. Thank you, John Cole Wilkinson, the Joey of Plain.
JCW. I'd love to thank from Medford in OR, which is
Oregon.
Oregon. I'd love to thank Connor Smith.
Connor Smith.
I reckon Connor might be our number one supporter name on Patreon.
Yeah, true. We got a lot of Connors.
Love him. Keep him coming, Connor.
Uh,
Connors.
I think Connor's clearly the Rachel.
yeah, Rachel.
That's
I'm
my
getting
guy.
Rachel vibes as well. I totally am.
What is Connor's show?
Wall.
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 Oh, that is beautiful.
Yes.
And it takes place in a wall.
Inside a wall, yes.
Wow.
Right. Are they hiding out from something? Or
Oh, I won't give too much away.
Okay.
Of course.
But it is-
What's your elevator pitch?
It is masterful.
Yeah, elevator pitch. It's masterful. Great.
Yeah. No, my elevator pitch is I can't give too much away.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to green light that.
Thank you for the
Just
millions
to see
of
what it
dollars.
is.
TV exec.
And I'd also love to thank from California in
California.
from Yellowknife in Canada, Mr. Cole Bouchard.
Oh, Cole Bouchard.
Genie.
Oh, yeah, be Bouchard.
Genie, like Eugenie Bouchard?
Correct.
Oh, that's good. Genie.
But it's also a reboot of
I Dream of Genie?
No, My Life as a Genie,
Oh,
which was a spin-off of I Dream of Genie.
And Cole's, of course. Yeah, say it with me, Jess.
Ross.
Thank you.
Sorry to say it.
Say it with-
We're all Rosses, Cole. We're all Rosses.
I like some parts about Ross.
He's fine.
Yeah.
Can I thank someone?
Schwimmer.
Is that a yes?
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, don't you? I don't think you spoke. You don't speak Schwimmer?
I don't speak Schwimmer.
Oh, well, it's very easy. It's you say Schwimmer.
Uh-huh.
It's much like Groot. I am Groot. Schwimmer.
Right.
I mean, you just look in my eyes and you know what I mean.
It's all about time.
You nodded, so I'm going to say it's yes.
Schwimmer.
Great. I would like to thank from my favourite place in the world.
My house.
No. You never invite me over.
Your house is a dream.
After the incident. I broke everything.
Weed on the
Heat
road.
What did you say?
Weed
Same
on the
thing.
road.
Means it's true.
Yeah,
It's
that's
sad that that's believable.
I've heard the rumours.
Ireland. Thank you. Ronan Michael Dermot O'Neill.
What?
What?
That is a dream name.
Dream name.
James Joyce couldn't think of that.
Couldn't do it.
And obviously, Jess, again, let's go together.
Monica. And the show
I really
would
gave a big lead into that.
the show would be called Together Now.
Okay. Hey, babe.
What did you
Is that
say?
Hey Babe?
Hey, Bale.
Hey Bale.
One word.
Yeah, hyphen.
Hey,
All right.
Bale.
Wait, it's one more time.
Emerald. I'm trying to say emerald.
Oh, I thought you were saying airport and you were saying burrito.
Eberu.
Airport burrito.
I didn't understand the game.
That's a good title for a show. I'd watch Airport Burrito.
I know you would.
A lot of people are going to get
You
sick.
basic bitch. I'd fucking that to our marketing.
Yeah, you got me hooked.
Thank you so much, Ronan/Monica. And I would also like to thank from Bloomington, Indiana, Jacob Alden Miller. Another good, strong name.
I love they're giving us their full names.
I
It's
love
not
it.
just first and surname.
Somehow on my Uber Eats account, it's now Jessica Ann instead of just Jess. So all my orders come as Jessica Ann, and I hate it. Anyway,
Has your nickname ever been Jap?
no.
Because that is the inspector's name on Poirot.
Poirot, that's correct.
Jap.
Inspector Jap.
Oh,
And also has offensive connotations.
yeah,
so
that's why I
probably wouldn't call
generally
it
don't.
that.
Yeah.
But Jacob's a jam.
He's our
His
jam.
initials are Jam. So the show's called Jam.
And could he be any more Chandler?
Yes.
Okay, you've made that reference many times without me
don't get
getting
it?
it.
It's just something Chandler says. Like he's
Could I be any more Chandler?
It was, yeah, but no,
Could
but it'd
you
be
be
about
any
different
more?
things. Could you be any more? Is this one
Oh,
weird?
Just
I
his
thought
tone.
his trademark was, could I be any more Chandler?
Yeah.
And that would make me hate him.
Wow. Okay.
I think Ross is the number one character.
He's the number one banana. He's certainly got, yeah, he's definitely the most you.
Which is, I love me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Ross, which is
Wow.
me.
Yes.
Yep. No, we got it.
Big time.
Also,
Unbelievable.
Jam is a good title for a sitcom because it's J.A.M. Am I right?
No, it's Jam,
Oh.
One word.
and he works in a jam factory.
Like in Melbourne, the cinemas.
Oh, yes. It's very exciting.
Great twist.
Yeah.
We all thought he was just putting lids on jars.
Turns
No.
out he works at the movies.
He's ripping ticket stubs.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. I got dizzy when I made that noise.
It was a beautiful noise.
I didn't like it.
Thank you so much for everything you've done. And thanks everyone for joining us here today on the show. And as we always say, Dave,
Give us a review because we're worth it to you.
I actually because we're on a new thing for like 6 months, Omni, and they list there's an easy way for us to see reviews from around the world. And I was reading a few the other day. And I didn't even realize I needed it, but it made me feel so much better. There were so many lovely reviews.
For a long time on this through iTunes, we can in whatever country and you can only see the reviews, so we could only see the Australian reviews. But we have found a way, as Matt said, to see all the international ones. So if you are anywhere around the world, you want to make us feel good, you go onto iTunes, give us a nice review, and you fill out the box and write something cool.
But if you're some kind of sick fuck who thinks, I want to hurt these people, just don't listen. That does enough. You know, don't feel the need to be like, oh, she's an idiot. I know. I don't need reminding, Dad.
I must say the hate is so little.
It is.
And I'm
it is
very
small-minded.
to it.
Yeah, small-minded people, huh? No, people write such lovely things, and it really is nice to read, isn't it, Matt?
But if you're gonna write bad, you can fuck off.
As we always say,
thank you so much for everyone who has written a beautiful 5-star review in the past. We really do appreciate that. You can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Do Go On Pod. Also, our website is dogoonpod.com. Our YouTube is youtube.com/dogoonpod. It'd be great for you to subscribe there. I was up to date. Now I've slipped a couple episodes behind, but I'm going to get back up to date there soon. And I'll be releasing another one of our filmed live episodes soon.
From the Melbourne Comedy Festival earlier this year.
Our Patrons have had it for quite a few months, but
you can see how beautiful we are.
Yeah, I reckon we came out all right.
Get lost in our eyes.
In our ass?
Yeah, get lost in our eyes.
Yeah, get lost in second position.
I've lost it.
All right, team. Until next week, we will say thank you for listening, and I will say goodbye.
Later.
Bye.
This podcast is part of the Planet Broadcasting Network.
Visit planetbroadcasting.com for more podcasts from our great mates. I mean, if you want. It's up to you.
Do you want to have a go being the last one to say bye for once? I'm sorry.
Bye.
Nice.